Do hard drives slow down with age? My Windows-based laptop is coming up to 6 years old now, and it still has semi-respectable specs. Core 2 Duo 2.6 GHz, 1 GB RAM, 500 GB HDD, 256 MB ATI graphics card. Although the hardware is on its last legs, I am quite proficient with XP and keeping things nice and tidy. I have minimal startup processes and defrag every 6 weeks or so. Now I am experiencing slowdowns, but I do not think it is my software being the cause. I am pretty sure it is my HDD being old and decrepit that is doing it. Do HDDs get slower with age use? On average, how often should I be replacing my HDD? Is there any way of testing, monitoring the HDD speeds?
No, hard drives don't get measurably slower with age. Drives can get worn mechanically, and they can get occasional bad sectors, but either they work for decades or they fail hard and quick after a while, not a slow decay. As Ignacio states, there's a bit of age-related maintenance inside the drive, but that's on a scale you wouldn't notice. Windows is known to slow down, it's software related, over time, especially if you install and uninstall applications often. At any rate, if the machine is running for 6 years on the same Windows installation, you're doing well. I would suggest to back up the machine, then reinstall the OS and your programs. I agree with you that the specs of the machine make it useful for several more years. If you have access to grc.com SpinRite, you might want to try it out. It can refresh your disk.
As hard drives age, they may need to remap reserve sectors in place of non-working sectors. A smart tool should be able to tell you how many of these remappings have been performed, as well as other factors that may be a result of old age.
Conventional rotating drives may not slow down with age, but solid-state drives, SSDs, may slow down with use, especially when they're filled to near capacity. This is more apparent when dealing with older SSDs, older OCs, and/or older drivers that may not understand or fully utilize facilities that combat this, such as trim. See Anantech's SSD Anthology and other articles for a detailed description of why, essentially, SSDs have different limitations than hard drives. For example, their erase block size, and to act like traditional hard drives they need to have a translation layer of sorts. That layer ends up being almost as complex as a modern file system. File systems themselves can experience performance degradation in a number of similar cases. Large numbers of files or directories. Fragmentation, as you pointed out, a defrag helps with this. Low remaining space, it may take more work to determine where to place pieces of files. All that having been said, I agree with Torbengt, your issue is much more likely a software one. A few options. If you feel up to it, grab the sysinternals suite or similar tools and do some sleuthing. It may be a single app, DLL, or service that's hogging some critical resource, disk, memory, or CPU. With luck you can just disable or reinstall whatever is being pesky. Boot from a live CD or USB stick, or install a fresh copy of Windows on a separate partition. The USB or CD may not have the same performance characteristics, but if things feel zippy again, it's likely software. Bite the bullet, backup, format, and reinstall, then be selective and take time when putting apps back. Most power users end up doing this every so often anyway, and it almost always provides a tangible result.
I don't know about other answers, but in my personal experience HDD has slowed down considerably over time. Eventually startup will take more time. By startup I mean actually start using the computer even after desktop is launched, because your HDD is going to show busy for quite some time. Every online answer associated these slowdowns to Windows and too much programs installed. But even after formatting the HDD and reinstalling Windows, the HDD behaves the same. Over time your HDD is going to be at 100% used for even running or opening the tiniest of programs. You know it's your HDD that had slowed down because once you replace it the speed is almost back to normal. I think the HDD RPM slows down over time. May not be true, but still it's the HDD the culprit that slows down your PC. The longer you use your PC the slower it gets. If you are an everyday user, you will start seeing signs after a year. After that it becomes more and more apparent.
If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.